Okay, so the next one is the impressions question. So what impressions do you get of Anna in these lines? How does the writer show you what she is like? So the impressions question, remember, impression means the kind of view you might have for a place, a person when you read what is said about them. So for example, if you read something, you might say one impression I get is they're happy, or one impression I get of the place they work is dangerous, or one person I get is selfish or violent, etc. How many quotes do you need? A bit like the other question. If it's a 5-mark question, we're looking for 5 quotes. If it's a 10-mark, we're looking for 10 quotes. Okay, on this one, it says use relevant subject terminology. So that means we need to be using these things again. So same as the how question, we need to be using the relevant subject terminology. How do you structure your answer? So I would say impression, technique and quote, connotations, and we'll explain that. So for example, we looked at an exam the other day about mines, and we said one impression we get of working in the mines, it was dangerous. And then the quote we picked out is that they said the rocks could fall and crush you. And then we zoomed in on the word crush, and we said, well, what does crush suggest? Why does that show that it's dangerous down the mines? Well, the violent verb crush suggests the mines are powerful and it would destroy the men if they were careless. So crush, we talked about the connotations being powerful, destroy, death. So we put that into our explanation. So there's the extract. The question is, what impressions do you get of Anna? How does the writer show? So read the extract and go through it and see if you can pick out 3 or 4 impressions, 3 or 4 types of character, types of Anna's personality. I'll give you a clue. Most of it is negative. So see if you can. So for example, see if you can spot her being selfish. See if you can spot her being maybe a bit of a liar and those things, and see what you can come out with. Okay, so I would say straight away she is described as messy and lazy, because Bruce literally calls her messy and lazy. Then it says he had asked her to clean the room before she left, and she had assured him twice. So maybe here we're seeing a bit of a lying side, where she said she was going to do it, but she didn't do it. Then it says that the middle of the carpet was neglected. So neglected makes it sound like it's been left mistreated for a long time. Then we say there's lipstick stains and there's large balls of dust. So maybe she's a bit of a messy person. This is a bit dirty, large ball. It's not just dust, they're large balls of dust. Then it says the smell. The smell is not described as a smell, it's described as an odour. So normally odour is associated with a bad smell. And we're also told that her presence lingered. So lingered means something that stays there. So we're almost getting the fact that even though she's gone a couple of weeks ago, she was such a bad influence on the flat that her presence lingered. So again, he uses a simile down the bottom. He compares her to a child. So again, we see that he probably thinks she's very immature. And then the bit at the bottom, he says that it's a real opportunity. So basically, if you need to read the extract. But basically, Bruce persuades Anna to leave because he says there's a really good opportunity. So he basically fools her into leaving. So we could say then that she's naive. So again, what impressions do we get of Anna? How does the writer show this? So really simply, I'll do a few together and I'll show you them all together. One impression I get of Anna is that she is untrustworthy. So my impression is she's untrustworthy. My quote to back it up is she was asked to clean her room at least twice and assured Bruce it will be done. So then I've used 2 quotes there because remember I want to use as many quotes as possible. I'm just saying why that makes her untrustworthy. Well, this verb, so the verb assured, suggests she had made it clear to Bruce she would clean the room, but then she didn't bother doing it. So another one impression I get of Anna is that she's messy. So then now I'm going to talk about all the quotes that tell me that she's messy. So Bruce calls her messy and lazy. So that's an easy one because he calls her it. And the verb collapse is used to describe the magazine. So now I'm going to zoom in on the word collapse and tell me why that shows that she's lazy. Well, the verb, so remember I'm using again the terminology. The verb collapse suggests there are a great number of magazines that are all over the floor. So collapse suggests, it doesn't just suggest there's one, it almost suggests that there's a tower of magazines that are all over the place. Okay, so I've got that one, but then I've got a few more that I'm going to talk about with messy, so I'm going to bring them in now. Again, I don't have to do the impression again, so I don't have to the reason I think her messy is, you've already written she's messy at the top of the page, so you don't need to write this again. So, we're also told that our room has a musty odour, so now I'm going to zoom in on the quote. The adjective musty suggests a stale, mouldy smell, and odour makes it seem a negative aroma. So the writer could have put a smell, but all you're doing really is explaining the word choice. Why have they chosen to use the adjective musty? Why have they chosen to use the word odour? It's done for a reason. It's done deliberately. That's the point of this question. Okay, again, I've got another one with messy. Her presence also lingered, which suggests she's a negative presence that Bruce cannot remove entirely from the room. Another one, the verb neglected. So what does this mean? Why does this sound that she's messy? Well, neglected makes it sound like she's left the room and it's been mistreated for a long time. Almost that it's given the room feelings. Okay, so another impression is she's selfish. She left lipstick stains and a glass in her room. So even though she was moving out, she didn't even bother to clean the room, and even the stuff inside was unclean. Another impression I get is she's selfish. She left lipstick stains in the glass, blah, blah, blah. We've talked about that one. And another reason we could say she's selfish is when she's like a kid. So he uses a simile with like a child. This suggests Bruce felt like he had to look after her as if it was his daughter. So even though this doesn't entirely fit in with selfish, it's in the same ballpark. We can pull it in with this one. Okay, another impression I get is that Bruce doesn't like her. He'd always hated going in there, so the writer could have used didn't like or avoided, but hated is very strong, isn't it? So the aggressive verb hate, it makes it sound Bruce had a violent dislike for being around Anna and her room. Okay, and another one, maybe it said that she doesn't like Bruce. Again, I'm not writing out the impression, is I encouraged her. The verb encourage suggests Bruce actively persuaded Anna to leave as he wanted her to go, which makes us think she must have been a rotten flatmate. Okay, and then I've got another impression. This also makes Anna seem naive as she moved out just because someone said she should. Okay, and there they all are together. My red is my impression, my blue is my quote. Again, it's on bpcenglish.wordpress.com.